I did not hear one thing about grace and love.
Do you mind if I record?
You're good. Anthony was compassionate and sincere. I think those other guys, I believe they're Christians, but
those guys are more on fire for God.
Okay.
They're ready to see a change.
Yeah, okay.
They're ready
and
to
I'm
see
not
it.
questioning their Christians.
And they see it in you guys. They see it in you. That's what's good about it. But at least there is some people that's in the world that's what I'm saying. Stop.
But how are they the judge?
You already know what they've done. You already know what they've done. Now take it in consideration that these two males came on this campus. They were bold enough to tell you as men, because God chose men to be what? Leaders.
Luke 6:37.
And we're failing at that. We are failing at that right now. You see what I'm saying?
But
an older man cannot lead the country right now. It's going to be in a younger man's hand.
Right.
But your problem is Luke 6:37. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgiven, you will be forgiven. Matthew 7:1-5. Even Paul agrees with this, as much as I can dislike Paul on certain issues. But Paul agrees that you're not to judge. Paul says he's not here to judge the outside.
Matthew 7:1 definitely says you have to. It leaves it open for.
It says
not necessarily judging in the sense of you're going to hell and you're going to heaven, but in the sense of you're not living right and you need to turn around what you're living.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Well, I mean, I'm also quoting. I preached on it before.
I mean, for us to sit here and say that we can judge people, because I believe you have no throne, you have no throne, you have no throne. God sits on the throne. You see what I'm saying? God said what? The world is what? His footstool. He said if a man wants to listen, if he shall listen, let him listen. You know what I'm saying? But if he does not want to listen, what God requires for you to do before you step in the home, that welcome sign mat that you got in front of your door, wipe the dust off your feet and keep going your way. That's what Christ is going to do. He has already came.
Here's what it says.
1-6, 7:1-6.
Do not judge, so that you may not be judged. For the judgment you make, you will be judged, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. Why do you see the speck in your neighbor's eyes, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your neighbor, let me take the speck out of your eye while the log is in your eye? You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye. I'm not reading verse 6. I mean,
do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs, for they may trample them under their feet and then turn into your necks.
I mean, you know, that verse 5 leaves it open. It says, you know, if you can.
You're saying you can judge,
I'm not saying judge. I'm not.
Luke clearly states, brother. Luke and Matthew clearly state. Matthew 5:43-48. I mean, unless you're perfect, how can you judge?
That's what I'm not saying.
Go to that story that's questionable.
I'm not saying judge as in like what God's going to do in that time. I'm saying you're going to hell, you're going to heaven. Depart from me, I never knew you. Well done.